Hey everybody, want to welcome you to the mechanic shop. In this video what I'm going to do is I'm just going to try to add some pieces to the puzzle. Now there's been a lot of speculation on the dates of March 22nd through the 25th, and I'm just going to throw in what I've seen. This is the things that I've found, and we obviously know that nothing extraordinary happened at the Super Bowl like we thought it might, but I think it's a good indication that these people are definitely planning something, and there's a lot of symbolism in the Super Bowl, which I agreed was interesting. Well, the lights going out, Mr. Caddy here and Mothman have pointed out something which is awesome. I'll leave the link to this video here, but I'm going to show you something that we might have definitely missed. As you can see, what they're pointing out here is the fact that apparently there are two factions warring with each other here, and I'm guessing for control of the earth. Now this would make sense for the next video that I'm going to create because of who it involves. Now I originally thought battle of the sexes, which I still am sticking with, and I'll go over that in my next video. But this right here is obviously symbolism because this is what they want us to see. Now, what they're pointing out in this video specifically is the fact of 11 and 7. Now, this just happens to be two factions. I'm not going to go over it. You can watch their video, but it's an interesting thing that showed up, and they're seeing it right here. That's why the blackout happened. Now, of course, one faction won against the other. So we're questioning, well, what happened? Well, apparently one had a plan and another had a plan, and one foiled the other's plan. That's what I'm taking from this video. I find that very interesting. So what happens? Well, what happens is they move on to the next deal on who can do their dirtiest deed or whatever it may be. The dates that are coming up are like March 22nd through the 25th. So let's see where we go from here. Now let's take a look at something that I just happened to stumble upon, mainly because I was looking for the significance of March 22nd, 2013, see what it had with it. The reason I'm pointing this out is the fact that Ash Wednesday came up. It was the first link, and I thought, well, that's odd. I'm pretty sure that Ash Wednesday is coming up here pretty quick. Well, this year, Ash Wednesday is going to happen on February 13th of 2013. Now, we know these guys are symbolic and ritualistic and stuff like that, so I think this somehow has a connection with everything. And from what I've been studying, it really does have a huge connection because of the fact of where this ritual comes from about the ashes. And the video I'm going to do concerning that is a lot more in depth, and it goes over what I've been talking about already about the battle of the sexes, the ashes, and what these guys are showing us. But what I want to point out here is, I didn't know this, that what is little less known about Mardi Gras is its relation to Christmas season. So you say, okay, how can you relate a movie to the Christmas season? Well, I find it funny that this next movie I'm going to show you, it actually comes out on March 22nd, but it's related to Christmas for some reason. After we're past Christmas, not even during the Christmas season, but yet they have a lot of symbolic references in this movie, and which happens to be called Olympus Has Fallen, which is also another name for the White House. Now, as we start out, it shows these trees covered in snow, but yet I could relate this to be covered in ashes. And you say, well, how could you relate snow with ashes? It looks like ashes after the fact of a volcano erupting, right? This is where I find it as a connection because of the fact that these guys are putting a Christmas movie out on March 22nd with a lot of symbolism. Of course, we know these guys, they put it right out in front of you, but it also has something to relate with Ash Wednesday. If you understood where the ashes come from, it means the destruction originally of man, and then man was rebuilt from the ashes. People in the Bible, it says the dirt, but actually, if you go back to the Sumerian text, it says that man was rebuilt from the ashes. So this has happened before. This is not the first time, and it seems to be a repetitive cycle. So this is where I'm getting the whole ashes from, because of the fact that it seems to be pointed out right here in this first scene, is everything's covered with ashes. Now let's keep moving through the movie, and she says right here, she says Merry Christmas on a movie that's coming out on March 22nd, 2013. Right here, what he's saying is, Mustang, this is Big Top, we're bringing out the full package. And then the next scene we see is Camp David. Now, is this a reference to David and Goliath, or what David are we talking about here in the Bible? Now, once again, snow can be the same as ashes. I know that people would be like, oh, this is a stretch, but as we can see, it's in a ash-filled world, and it's like a tree just comes out of nowhere and hits this car. The president can't get his wife out, and she falls to her death. Everybody knows you did the right thing. You got to get back into the real world. Says, Mr. President, we're ready for you. Says, our guest has arrived, and this guy looks to be of the Chinese nature. I'd like to welcome you to the White House on March 22nd. And once again, we're being shown that the plane flies over the Lincoln Memorial. Is that symbolizing taking our freedoms away? There's been an incursion. Now, it could be wrong, but this looks like an AC-130 gunship. I mean, that's the first thing I thought when I saw it. And what do? They attack the White House. So we're showing the White House being attacked. The president, of course, is going to be given all kinds of power. And he's saying, Olympus has fallen. Olympus has fallen. He says, I want to speak to the Russians, the Chinese, the British, and the French in that order. Says, I will execute your commander-in-chief. He says his numbers are 309er. 40 commandos breached the gate, 20 are left. We're talking about the safety of the President of the United States. We just opened the gates of hell. Right here. Do we remember this? This is an upside down flag. Do we remember this from maybe Pet Goat, I Pet Goat? Let's see. Okay, so we're going to look at I Pet Goat 2, and it seems interesting that right here, oh, hello, what was that? It's your torn flag that's upside down. Upside down flag, I Pet Goat 2, which we know is loaded with symbolism of all kinds of stuff, telling us what's going to happen next. And it just happens to be in Olympus is down also. There you go, once again. Oh, there's our flag, upside down, flying in the wind, torn. And what do they show after that? They show us our false flag, the 9/11 flag, happening. So, can we relate that to a false flag attack on the White House? Say they don't negotiate with terrorists. Who said anything about negotiation? Now, once again, here is the symbolism of them taking the top off of the pyramid, or the top off of this. It's a phallic symbol right there. That is the top off of a pyramid. But they just showed you what they did was they took that top off. Now that seems to be a very strong symbolic reference to these guys, and I'm not sure why. Not 100% sure why taking the top off the pyramid, because that was a pyramid on the top of that, is a huge reference to them. Maybe you guys can help me. But then once again, as soon as they take that pyramid off, it says Olympus has fallen. Now there's some type of battle going on here that involves them taking off the top of the pyramids. They're destroying the pyramids, and I think I might have an idea on that, but if you guys have an idea, let me know what that's supposed to represent. And of course, March 22nd, 2013, the date that we're all looking at as being the next false flag. I find that very, very coincidental. Okay, so let's throw another little twist or connection in here. what we're looking at is the $100 bill. And now that we've seen the movie Olympus on 3/22, we're going to look at this. Now, a lot of times we've noticed that they put something into the clocks. They like to put stuff into the clocks of the place of the movie, wherever, representing the next time. Let's look a little closer at this clock. Well, this clock says 2, and could that be 23? So here we go again, 2/23. Now if we look, Purim is February 23rd, which means celebrates the deliverance of the Jewish people from the wicked Haman and the days of Queen Esther of Persia. Interesting. Or do we flip that around in the symbolism and create 3/22, which would be the exact date that Olympus Has Fallen movie is coming out? Do we flip that around and say, okay, if that's 2/23, then that would equal March 22nd for that movie coming out? And what's happening on March 22nd? The movie showing us Olympus Has Fallen. And then on March 23rd, they're having Lights Out practice, I guess you would call it. And on 3/23 is Lights Out practice. I don't know. I'm just going to throw that out there because it's on your $100 bill. Okay, so we've seen the clock and the time. Now, let's look at what happens when you fold this $100 bill. Now, it's not your traditional pyramid, and as you can see, they tried to fold it into a pyramid, but this time, you fold it straight up like this, and what do we get? We get something that looks familiar. It almost looks like the White House burning, okay? So take the time, 2/23, or flip it around, 3/22, which is also the skull and bones. And what happens is, I made a layer here, and I'm going to drag it over here to this replica of the White House, and I'm going to put it right there. Now, I'm pretty sure that's a pretty good fit. That seems to fit really well for the replica of the actual White House. Let's put it right there, showing it destroyed. Is this our next false flag, 9/11? Attacked by terrorists or the Chinese or whoever? Look at that. I mean, you really cannot deny that this fits. It's a symbol, and we've seen it before in the money, the 10, the 50, all these things. But look, right here. I mean, I literally just took the picture that I had, made a little cutout of the symbol, and put it right here on a replica of the White House. Now, this is not the true White House, but it's a replica. Look at that. If I set this right down here, bam, look at that. White House is smoldering and blown up and on fire and done. And that's on your $100 bill right there. Can we connect that? I do believe we can. And that brings me to my next point, another video by Mr. Caddy, pointing out the fact of March 22nd through the 25th. I found this later. I've been doing the research, and I found this actually last night. I've been doing the research on all this kind of for the past 2 weeks, but just trying to figure out kind of where all this is connected. And he points out that it's all related to the coin that Anderson Cooper received on television, and he points this out right here about the symbolism and how this part could represent 22 to 25 degrees, which would also be the 22nd to the 25th. Now, the next thing I kind of looked at after that was, okay, what do these dates have to do with anything Jewish holidays? And you say, why Jewish? Well, it's well known that the Jewish are in control of the media and Hollywood, so that would actually be right in the same time as the Passover, which is another religious connection here, which would be March 25th. Interesting connection with that because of the fact of March 22nd and then March 25th, kind of in that area of gray, I would call it, I guess. So the Passover right here is going to be in March. Now, could that mean something? Could a catastrophe be looming? I think yes, because they've been talking about a whole different thing, and behind all of this symbolism also, and I'm going to make that in my next video. I honestly feel our time's a little bit short. That's why people are saying we're living in the end times, but I'm going to try to explain it to where these guys are actually telling us exactly what's going to happen and what we need to do, but we just don't see it because a lot of people are blind to it, or they're just relying on the coded version of the truth, which also has lies and truth put into it. But I want to point out Nania, I'm not sure how to pronounce that, but her videos are very well done also on this whole thing and how it's related to Passover and numerology and stuff like that. The other thing that I want to add to this is I got in my email, once again, seems to be kind of where I'm getting some of this information. And what I received was from the World Wildlife Fund about Earth Hour 2013, which just happens to also be on March 23rd, 2013 at 8:30 p.m. And it's enter your pledge below for Earth Hour 2013 and turn off your lights for 1 hour. This is nothing new. This has happened before. I'm referencing to the fact of, are they trying to say lights out on March 23rd, 2013? Are they going to come back on, whether you choose to turn them back on or not? It's right in that time range. So I find this as a connecting part of it also. Now we have the panda, which is naturally black and white, but what a better mascot for these guys than to have your panda as their mascot because of the black and white symbolism. This is all speculation, of course, and I'm trying to put some puzzle pieces out there to help you guys maybe piece together some stuff also. The 22nd through the 25th seems to be the collective idea on when things are going to happen, but I'm just putting this Earth Hour out here because of the fact that it falls within that time frame. It's saying, hey, lights out. Could that also go back to the Super Bowl and the lights out that we saw, the symbolism there with everything? It's all over the place, so it's just a matter of whether you want to see it or not. And it apparently brings it back to these two factions, which I have come to a conclusion it's a battle of the sexes. You have this here and this here. And once again, this is a video by Mr. Caddy. And I appreciate his input on everything. I'm just trying to put some other puzzles in there. So I'll link to all this stuff down in the description if you want to check it out yourself. Feel free. Also, I would suggest subscribe to them. If you want to subscribe to me, you're more than welcome. My next video is going to be very interesting. Let's just say that. It's not going to be the popular answer, but it's going to be a very interesting answer to a lot of these things that I believe will shed a lot of light on the things. Hope you guys have enjoyed my video. Appreciate the input from all these other people and their videos. And if anything happens between here and then, hope to see you on the other side.